and welcome to the November 2025 podcast for the LLR LMC. This is a roundup of news for the past month and what's in our November newsletter. First thing is a question that we keep getting asked in the office at the moment is what's happening about subcontracting for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. For a few years, we from the LMC have funded the subcontracting service between 4 and 6:30 on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. This year has proved to be a little more tricky. Firstly, because of course the changes that came in from the 1st of October regarding practice duties and responsibilities, and secondly because there's been a change in the exec as the LLR ICB and the Northamptonshire ICB have merged. There's been a change of personnel, so dealing with people that aren't used to us, aren't used to me. Good luck to them. So it's taken a little bit, and you may notice there's quite a bit of difference between the initial version that came out from the ICB and the final version. That's because we've now got it to align with the contractual requirements, and very much, note that the contract allows practices to subcontract, and all they have to do is to notify the ICB that they are subcontracting, and to give the assurances that they have ensured that the arrangement provides all the services that patients need to meet their reasonable needs. And the ICB can only turn down a request for subcontracting on 2 grounds. First is patient safety, and the second is regarding if it's going to create a lot of cost. Now, we've been doing this for many years. We know that it has never led to an influx, say, in patients using the emergency department, and we've never had a complaint, and we've never had an incident that's been reported to the LMC office during those periods in previous years. So in the newsletter, and we will send it out separately by the time you read this. By the time you read this, I'm positive it will go out separately to every practice. There'll be guidance to what to think about when you're filling in each of the questions on the online form. Now, again, practices don't have to use the online form, and also don't even need to stick to the deadline that the ICB is requesting. But from an LMC point of view, we've worked with them to try and make the form as simple as possible, to make it easier for practices to apply it, and if you use that form, it's less likely the ICB will come back to you with further questions. And we're guiding the deadline. The ICB have got to process all of the requests. So the same as last year, they've got 124 requests to look at. And so we think it's not unreasonable for the ICB to request for practice to put in their request to complete the form by the 1st of December. Any queries, like anything within this podcast, please do contact the ICB. I love to hear your comments. I love to get any feedback. I love for you to tell me when we're getting things wrong and when we're getting things right. So please do let us know. Next thing that I wanted to talk about was vicarious liability. Now, this isn't actually, this is a bit odd because I've got this in the section about feedback from the conference of LMCs England. This is an interesting conference. It's when LMCs meet from across the country. It allows us to network, so it allows us team to meet other LMCs face to face, which then makes it a lot easier to then communicate with them via Teams or email, whatever, during the rest of the year. As well as we get to debate and we get to set policy. Now, our LMC do submit motions, and actually we've got quite a good hit rate in being able to influence national policy, which is great. Rim Parvez actually led on our one motion that was a lead motion, so that means that our MC was talking to it. For a lot of motions, they're what called composite. So a lot of MCs are putting very similar ideas. So the agenda committee then puts those into one motion, and then decided he could talk to it. I was rather miffed that one of the motions was a composite and actually encompassed 3 of our motions that we submitted, trying to get as much information and so much detail into one motion. And despite that, we were still not the LMC asked to propose the motion, but there you go. I think it was a good day, and I think it's worthwhile. The delegates are actually paid for by the GP Defence Fund rather than by the LMC. So it's no additional cost to the, as it were, for our delegates to the LMC. And if you look, there is actually you can click and can watch the speech by Rima. There's a little Easter egg within the newsletter, in that if you click on my image in that section, you can hear my speech on another motion. One of the other MC members has recorded it, so I thought, what on earth to do with it? So I thought if you wish to find it and watch it, you may find it entertaining. You can at least see how I approach speeches, if you wish. So anyway, but as part of this, one of the MC officers was speaking on one of the motions, and it's one that we've added to, which is about, that's CNSGP only covers for clinical reasons, but really needs to be expanded, like the hospitals have, to cover other instances that can happen, which is sort of breaches of data protection and things like that. But what happened in this practice is that a salaried doctor had signed a form saying that someone was fit to a parachute jump. Unfortunately, the patient had a problem and they fell and they broke their neck and have been left quadriplegic, which is very sad for them. But they are claiming that the practice should never have signed the form to say they were fit to jump because they had a history of depression. The form was signed by a salaried GP. The MDO, Medical Defence Organisation of that GP, refused to say that they would cover the full possible costs, and so the solicitors of the patient have decided to sue the partners vicariously. So saying that because the partners run the service, then they are responsible. Now, their MDO, they have a different MDO from the salaried doctor. Their MDO has actually said that they do not include vicarious liability within their offer. So this means that potentially those partners, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them, can't remember precisely which, those partners are facing between a 10 and 15 million pound potential bill. Even if it's found in favour of the patient, they are likely to be left with a really high, a staggering high cost of the legal part, which may be millions in itself. So obviously this could be life-changing to the partners who are potentially looking at possibly losing their houses, as well as losing the business. Within the newsletter, I've put in some areas that practice might wish to think about getting additional insurance for. Asking their MDO about vicarious liabilities and looking at insuring against the other things that we put into our motion, which is things like sort of cyber security, data protection breaches, and breaches of the Human Rights Act. So have a think about that. You can ask. Some practices apparently have got some cover via their business insurance, but if you're not sure or if you don't, then please ask whether you can be covered and how much it would cost you. These things won't happen very often, but when they do, they can be absolutely life-changing for you and your practice. Philip Dick wrote a wonderful book called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I'm not sure about that, but what we do know is that AI hallucinates. It confabulates like a patient with an alcoholic patient with Korsakoff psychosis. So what this means is that AI is formed from what's called large language modules. So what they do is that they look as much data that they can. They look at how humans phrase things. They look at how humans talk and write things, and then they use that to create answers. If they haven't got the data to hand, they make it up. They fill it in. This happens all the time in AI, which is one of the reasons why from the MC we have previously warned about AI and why you must check anything where you're using AI to make sure it's accurate. So in a wonderful example that a practice has contacted the MC about, a patient turned up 8:30 in the morning with an appointment to see a GP. Now, the problem was the patient didn't have an appointment and the GP that they had an appointment with actually had left the practice. So what on earth happened? Well, the patient had used Meta AI on their phone and they'd put in, can I have an appointment with my practice, said what the practice was, and the AI come back and said, of course you are. When do you want it? Who do you want it with? And the patient said, well, I'd like it with this doctor, I'd like it this time. And it came back with a, yes, you now have an appointment at 8:30 with Dr. X at so-and-so practice. And so, of course, they turned up. Patient was rather miffed, but I understand, calmed down once they worked out what on earth has happened. So it's an interesting thing. And I'm sure we could see more and more of this as technology advances and we're relying on it more and more. But it's a warning sign to say, if you've got any systems that rely upon AI, double check their output. Don't just rely on it. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was the Primary Care Provider Collaborative. Now, this is a group that the MC have been sort of trying to support to get together and to act. And it's all primary care providers, and initially it's going to be just general practice providers being in a group which would enable the ICB to more easily contract with general practice. So this includes federations, PCNs, and they do work on the promise of subsidiarity. So that means if a service can be provided at a practice level, then the PCPC will say this, will either suggest the ISP contracts directly with practices, or they will then pass on the contract to practices. If the and this is probably the more important bit, that if there is a service which, particularly think about neighbourhoods, could be provided within primary care, but couldn't be provided within all general practices, then this organisation could then sort out who's providing what in what area, because there's no one organisation that covers the whole of LLR in this arena at the moment in the way that is needed. That's a very odd way of putting it, but that's where we feel that we are. So the LMC has facilitated meetings to get the people together, to encourage them to put together the governance and to get working. The LMC doesn't want to be part of the decision-making process, doesn't want to be a part of the, as it were, of their exec. But what we want to do is we want to remain a critical friend, and we want to be seen as being a stakeholder of the organisation. So that's our role. Any questions about this, any comments, then do let us know. This obviously is going to be evolving. You should be getting information via your PCNs to each practice about this. If you haven't heard anything about it, talk to your practice representative on your PCN and they should be able to fill you in. Next thing is services that the LMC are providing. The reminder about mediation. So we've started a mediation service. 5 of our members were trained and are registered mediators now. And the service has now actually done its first mediation with a successful outcome, with a signed agreement between the partners within a practice that they thought they might end up with having a split, but they've managed to sort it out and agreed a way forward. So if you're in a situation where things are going wrong between partners, going wrong between the organisation and a crucial member of staff, then please remember that mediation is there. We're able to provide that. Just contact the office and we can put things in motion for you. Next service is TPP, initially called Automate, but it's now called Auto Review. This is really close to going live. I think we've got 25 practices that have initially expressed an interest, so they will go live first. But if your practice is interested in this, then please let the LMC know. So what this does is that it allows automatic filing of results. One of the problems with this, of course, is that every time the lab makes a change, someone's got to do legwork of redoing all the rules regarding what gets filed. Now, what we've done is that we have found someone who has agreed for us to pay to actually do that on behalf of every practice within LLR who wish to be part of this. If you don't want to be part of it, you don't have to be. Because it's part of the System 1, there's no additional fee for it. So if you there are other products available. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is MyBot GP, but of course there's a charge for that. Whereas this, because it's part of System 1, there is no charge for. And the dysfunctions about it, we are overcoming by providing the centralized service. So talk about it in your teams and let us know if you want to do that. The next one is about e-learning. Now, those of you who have read our previous issues will know that there has been an ongoing problem with the ICB withdrawing funding for these services, and the ICB was particularly funding a system called Bluestream, which we know that many practices liked. We have gone and looked at all the systems that are available. We had a demonstration that many practices came along to. When we then did a sort of snapshot survey, which found that 94.4% of those that responded actually supported us supporting Bluestream. The ICB looked at this, and at the last board meeting, the board decided that actually we are willing to pay for this. So the ICB, the LMC, will enter into a contract with Bluestream initially for a 3-year period to pay for every practice to be able to access that service. Okay, so again, we're asking for expression of interest and as in who wants to be included. So do let the LMC know if you want to be one of those practices, and we will be paying for this from the 1st of April. And just to say that we have looked, as hopefully most of you know, we have been running a bit of a surplus within the LMC budget, and this fits well comfortably within that. It doesn't take it all up at all, so we can afford this without any increase in the levy on an ongoing basis. So please avail yourselves of this offer. Next thing, we've just updated a bit of guidance about evidence for schools. We're getting, or we've had some increased moaning from practices about schools asking for guidance, asking for sort of medical advice. Schools should not be asking practices, apart from in extremis, for sick notes on behalf of children, for evidence about illness. That they should sort this out with the parents. Okay, if there is a problem, you can charge. You can charge the parent, you can charge the school. Personally, I prefer to charge the school because it's them who are asking the inappropriate questions. Within our guidance, within the newsletter, I've put down a sort of, and these are just thoughts about standard messages that you might want to use to send to parents or schools when they're asking for that sort of information, just to help you. And then the final thing, not the final thing, because I just want to come to my thoughts of the day, as it were, my final thoughts. Now, we run this column for quite a long time now, and as you know, I like to have a bit of a rant. Someone said to me the other day that they noticed that a lot of these rants tend to be quite negative. So I actually thought to myself, this month I'm going to do something really positive. I'm going to think about all the good things that General Practice does. I'm going to record those. I'm going to think about all the great people that we've got around within and without LLR. I was going to think about all the people that have been given awards by the LMC and by UHL to GPs, and I was going to try and end up on quite a high note, but I thought, actually, with everything that is going on at the moment, with such a negative pressure on general practice, with general practice actually threatened with the existential threat of actually losing general practice as it is within this or the following parliament, if this same government continues on the same direction. I didn't think I could actually do that. I really just couldn't bring myself. So I apologise that my final thoughts are a little bit negative again, but please read it. And again, I'd love feedback on these, because I write these rants. I don't know whether I'm hitting the zeitgeist or actually I'm just going off on one. So please just let me know what you think. Will be good to chat, as I say. So coming to the final bit, I just wanted to say awards. Come to this because I really do want to end on a positive thing. So I was really keen that that we had awards for general practice. Initially, I badgered Richard Mitchell from UHL until he offered to start doing an annual award for general practice as part of the UHL award ceremony, which is a really glitzy thing at the Athena. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to this year, but I've been to the last few years, and I act as one of their judges. So I judge all the other criteria for their hospital awards as well. And it's fantastic this year. Hina Trivedi won the award, which is fantastic. But I also have started awards ceremony as being part of our AGM, part of the LLR LMC AGM. And last year was our first time, and this year we're going to do it again. So get your thinking hats on, because I think that this is really important, that we recognise all that fantastic work that's out there that we never think about. And particularly this year, well, not particularly this year, actually the same as last year, we've got three different categories: outstanding contributions to general practice, the greatest leader, and the rising star. Because I think that they're the things that I think are the most important for us to recognise and to congratulate people and to highlight. And we have a celebrity doctor coming. I think you should listen out for him. That's a bit of a hint. If you want another hint, so I did work with him in the West Midlands for a while. I doubt if he remembers me at all, because he's gone on to do great things, and I'm with you. But that is on Wednesday, 4th of March 2026. Put it in the diary. It'll be a fantastic night. Marriott Hotel this year, because Hilton's closing. And put your thinking caps on, because we want nominations. I'd love to have hundreds of nominations, because I know that there's so much good work being done in general practice that we do not recognise. So please inundate us, because even if you don't get the award, I'll include the citations within the newsletter, just to to highlight what is so fantastic about general practice today. So on that, I will leave you, and I will catch up with you next month. So I hope this month goes well, and next one will be just before the Christmas and New Year holidays. So a bit too early to wish you happy Christmas, but I will anyway. I hope you'll have a fantastic season, Christmas season. So that's all for me for now. Goodbye.